Hey, hey everyone! How are we tonight? Okay, so unfortunately my special guest is... Oh, hold on. I might still have a special guest. Look, he's gonna come and say hello. This is Rowdy. Isn't he cute? Okay, no, he's not my special guest. Although he probably thinks he is, but he's not. Anyway, my special guest is not ready tonight to do the part about Nicholas that she was going to do. So it's going to be a couple weeks. Hey, Christina, before she has reviewed everything and is able to come online and talk with us. But I guarantee you that she's really, really important. I do have something really exciting to tell you guys. So we have gotten in contact. I'm sorry for the background noise. My daughter's doing dishes. But we have gotten in contact with one of the leading experts on Munchausen by proxy. And she is going to actually do a conference call for you guys. It can hold up to about 500 people at one time. So we're working on coordinating that with her. I am super, super excited. She's going to be talking about the case. She's going to talk about Munchausen by proxy in general. She's one of the leading experts. And I'm super excited that we were able to foster that relationship and get some information from her. So I am so excited about that. So stay tuned because we're going to be announcing that probably sometime this week. So I'm really, really, really excited. Hey, Heather, how are you? Thank you for joining. Okay, so I am going to talk a little bit about Nick tonight, though, before I bring on Colleen. But so one of the things that I've seen a lot of people not understand in this case is the difference between first-degree murder, second-degree murder, why he was charged the way he was charged, why Gypsy got 10 years and he's got life. So I wanted to kind of touch on a couple of those things tonight because there are very regular explanations for all of it. So first of all, first-degree murder in the state of Missouri is all about deliberation and whether or not there was deliberation. And it can be seconds before even. It doesn't have to be like a year of planning, which there was. But it doesn't have to be like that. He could have deliberated the second he walked in the door and decided whether he wanted to do it or not. So that statement about the fact that he said that there was a benevolent angel on one side and a malevolent one on the other, and that one said take her and run, and one said that bitch is dead, and he went with that bitch is dead, that's definitely deliberation, okay? And it's not necessarily... the idea that he's autistic or has any type of mental issues does not speak to whether he can or cannot deliberate, okay? So that's one of the reasons why we've talked about that a lot. And like I said, I've never talked about the fact that he's not autistic or any of those things. However, it's not an excuse for autism. And that's another thing that we're working on right now with this case. It's one of the things we're focusing on right now is we do have an autism advocate on our team that we're working with. And they're reaching out to a couple other autism advocacy programs and things to talk and get some more information about it. We're also looking at the statistics of how autistic people that are in the prison system are dealt with and what the statistics of those type of people being in prison are, so that we can be really informed as to what he's going through in prison and how they're dealing with him. So, yeah, that's one of the things that we're working on. So that's one of the things I wanted to clear up was like the reason why he was charged with first degree was because of the deliberation point, and they were able to prove that. And that's why a jury really didn't have a whole lot of control over whether or not he got life or not, because in Missouri there's only two things for first degree murder. There's two options. One is the death penalty, which Patterson took off of the table in the very beginning, and then the second thing is that if he's found guilty of first degree murder, it's life. So one of the things with hi Kristen, one of the things that is with him that makes it so different is that he was presented with the opportunity to take a plea deal. They both were. Now, Gypsy's plea was much different than his. And I'll be honest, in the very beginning, I was told that the plea deals were the same. That is not true. They were very different. But Gypsy was offered what she was offered, and she took it. She had a good support system. She had a good lawyer who basically explained to her all the different reasons why she totally should. And based on what we know right now, I think that that was a really good advice from her lawyer, especially talking with my friend who's a lawyer and a couple of DAs, one in California, one in, I think, Arkansas, a couple of different places that I have friends that are DAs. And the fact that they said that, you know, it was all about what the jury would or wouldn't do. And with such a split and crazy, with all of this that is in there, you know, with all of this that is going on with the split of things and some of the information that we've uncovered in the last, you know, 6 months, I would definitely say that that was a really great decision for her to make. Because with everything, I don't know, like it could have gone either way for her. So, and then, okay, you know what? You're not going to read about it, Heather. No, because it's never going to be filed because he didn't take it. So the only thing we have is some different things that we've heard his father say, we've heard him say, and that it was offered to him was that he was offered 30 years. And he's been offered it twice to our understanding. The first time he was offered 30 years and it included a second charge that would have been 25 years, but they would have run together. So it still would have only been 30. The second time it came through, supposedly they took that second charge off. And so it would have only been 30, which might have given him a reduced amount of time based on the fact that he didn't have two charges congruently going. So that's one of the things, you know, I think that his attorney and his support system, which let's be honest, he really doesn't have. That's the sad thing. When all this started, he didn't have a great support system. He didn't even have like the people who are fighting for him now, like Sarah Sosa and Israel and those people. He didn't have those people. He just had him and maybe his dad. So I think that his dad played a part into that. I think that Nick's own narcissism played a part into it. He's been, you know, it's been told to me that he said, well, why would I take 30 when I could probably get 15 or nothing? And I truly believe that he thought that all the things that he was doing, and I truly think that he really thought he was fooling people. And so I really feel like it was a bad decision for him to not take that for him. Now, for society, I believe 100% everything happened the way it was supposed to happen, because what we've seen since, I certainly would not even want him out on the street after 30 years. Like, or 25 or 20 or whatever. They really did. They relied on that autism to get him less. And I'm telling you what, that was a bad decision, because autism is not an excuse for any of it. Not at all. I mean, you can lend some of it to being, you know, the fact that he was really focused on being obsessed and in love with her. You could say that it even maybe she was able to manipulate him in some ways. But here's the thing, even if he was manipulated, it doesn't change what he did, and it doesn't change that he deliberated. So in the eyes of the court and the eyes of other people and the law, he really still, even if it was manipulation, he shouldn't be out, because then he can just be manipulated again. So, you know, so it's really kind of the most fair thing. Thankfully, he does not have the death penalty, you know. I mean, thankfully, Patterson took that off for both of them, because he didn't have to. He could have taken it off the table just for Gypsy and not for her, you know. And so, I mean, definitely. I mean, we have an autistic girl, two autistic people working on our team that are very successful. And in fact, I have several, you know, teammates that are possibly slightly on the spectrum, some that are more on the spectrum. So, I mean, we have some very talented, wicked, great people that I know just personally on our team that are autistic. I do too. I think there's something, Suzanne, but I mean, he's been evaluated many times now, and they've still not found anything. However, I do think that he was supposed to have been moved in March from the evaluation center that he's in, but he has not been. So I'm wondering if there's maybe some sort of thing going on there. However, it could also be because of his appeal. So I don't know. But I definitely, my guest that I'm going to be bringing on in the next couple of weeks, she'll be able to answer a lot of those questions. And so I'm really excited about that. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think he's got some sort of stuff going on. He's obviously not right, but it's not like a DID thing. It's not, it's not like it's any type of real multiple personalities. I think he's just demented, and there's something not firing properly inside the head. And one of the things that I really, really want to look into is this statistical study that shows that many of the serial killers, like 95% of serial killers, have some sort of frontal lobe trauma before they're 22. And it's also attributed to those that are kind of the very violent offenders, even if they're not serial killers. If they killed violently, it's a factor in that as well. So I really want to look into if something happened. We do know that Bobby has alleged that his mom was on drugs when she had him, but I don't see I've never seen any type of court case or drug case or anything like that with Stephanie. So, and we've looked, believe you me. But it's not to say that it didn't happen. So we have some criminologists looking into that. And that's something we just had happen with our team, is we really just brought on a brand new criminologist who has a master's degree, and we're really excited about that. So she'll be able to give us a lot more perspective on the criminal aspect of this. So our team is really, really working great, and I'm super, super impressed with who we have involved at this point and how much different it is now than it was even just a few months ago. Hey, Jessica Lynn, she's one of our nurses. I just love her to death. She does a lot of great work. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and bring Colleen on now, and we're going to kind of finish up the conversation we had last time about medical procedures, and focus a lot on the medications. So I'm super, super excited about that. Okay, so let me get her on. Hopefully this goes well this time. Hey, do you guys like my hair, by the way? I did it today. I think it looks really cool, but anyway, however, the dark circles just don't go away. I've had them since I was 7. So even with pretty makeup on, still dark circles. Maybe there's a makeup artist out there that can give me some tips on how to get rid of the dark circles, because I totally wish they would go away. Anyway, okay, bringing Colleen on. Oh, where'd you go, Colleen? Colleen, I had you up there. Oh, there you are. There you are. Okay, and add. Okay, it's adding her. Oh, look how great this went. This might be the first time we've ever had it go this smooth. Fingers crossed. Maybe? Yes? Yay!
Hello, guys.
Oh, you're sideways.
Yeah, for some reason it said I had to be sideways to do this. I'm hoping I can figure out how to not be sideways.
I'm sideways, but maybe.
Is that
oh, Heather, it's because I have not slept since I was 6. Yes, now you're up, on your right side up at least. Okay. So anyway, yeah, I have the dark circles. I don't know how to get rid of them. Thank you, Christina. You guys, she's dropping all of our links to all of our different platforms, social media platforms in the chat. So go ahead and follow those. We will be releasing specific things on each one that's different. So you really want to follow along with all of them. And we've got lots of great things to talk about in the next little bit here. So, okay, Colleen.
Hello, guys.
Yay!
Happy to be back.
So, guys, if you don't know who Colleen, she is our one of our nurses. She is the head of our medical administration team. So she helps and assists Titania. She just got a teaching job, and I'm so proud of her. Yes, you're teaching. What are you teaching? Tell us again what you're teaching.
I'll be teaching nursing for teaching BSN students, supervising them at their clinical site. So it's really cool. I am now officially a nursing instructor.
That's really cool. So awesome. I am so excited.
Awesome.
While still going to school to get her nurse practitioner license. So very interesting. How far away from that are you? Are you almost there?
I
am nurse practitioner?
10 months away. Yeah, 10 months. So.
Nice. So by the time we finish this, you should be
Yeah.
licensed
Yes.
as a nurse practitioner. But you have a lot of years of experience and a lot of information. So,
Hmm.
okay, so last time we kind of got cut off. I'm glad to know that your house is okay and not burning down.
Yeah, that was insane.
um, but yeah, that was crazy. Okay, so last time we got cut off, you were kind of finishing up the medical procedures.
Hmm.
So just to reiterate, about how many did you determine there really were as far as like procedures, your surgeries, etc.?
Surgeries, there are about 10 surgeries, mostly on the eye. But there were
Okay.
over, I think it was like over 60 procedures that were done um, on pretty much every different body
And that's
system.
just And that's just what we found in Springfield, right? Because we're still waiting on
Yep.
anything to come from, well, I mean, we have some things, but not very many things from Louisiana. But so that's just the time period from Springfield, guys. So that's
Hmm.
like 15 years old on that she had all of that.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so a lot of people have been asking about the medication, and one of the things that I wanted to make sure that we covered tonight, along with what medications there were, but how are we certain that she was or wasn't, I mean, taking these medications on
Hmm.
a daily basis? What would the detox process have looked like that if she was taking these when she, ended up in prison? So kind of talk a little bit about those things as we talk about the exact actual medications. So,
So when I
and
started
then if
looking at
anybody
her,
has questions, just let us know.
yeah. So when I started looking at her med list, there are over 27 daily prescribed medications, and then 34 total of medications. Like the 27 to 34 are medications she would have gotten while she was like inpatient in the hospital if something was going wrong. But at home,
Okay.
27 daily medications.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and a lot of them, if not all of them, went through her tube. Um,
Okay.
which gets like way faster absorption because it doesn't have to go through
Mm-hmm.
the mouth or the throat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I There is a slew of different types of medications, but there are a lot on the neuro system which do get monitored by drawing
Mm-hmm.
labs, and then it has to be like
Mm-hmm.
between a level, specifically like the Tegretol um, and the Keppra.
Mm-hmm.
There are doses that they base it on how much she's taken. So the
Right.
doctors would have known if she was taking it or not.
Sure.
And
And it
because there
did
was.
show in
Mhm,
the
mhm,
medical files that we have that it was tested often. Sometimes I do remember even saying that they thought that there was an abnormally high amount of something,
mhm,
which could have explained going to different doctors and getting the same medication, because we did see certain medications at two different pharmacies
mhm.
at the same time. So,
Yeah, especially
the,
with a lot. So I have the side effects for every one of her meds, and some of the
okay.
meds have very like the same side effects. There are just general side effects that can happen, but other ones, if it's in combination with another one, synergistic, it can definitely cause a lot of problems. But in terms of like the detox
Okay.
process, um,
Mm-hmm.
I think leading up until her arrest, like even before Nick came Springfield, I think that
Mm-hmm.
she was not taking as much as she usually was and weaned herself
Mm-hmm.
by the point she was found in Wisconsin. Um, and
Mm-hmm.
she had a physical assessment done in the jail. Like she was majors or no problems.
You're starting to cut. You're cutting in and out, Colleen.
Can you hear me? I
No.
see you.
Yeah, I can hear you now. You're just kind of. It's kind of weird. You're kind of pixely and stuff. You're okay now. Oh, you're
Okay.
frozen. Okay, now you're back.
Yeah.
Nope,
Oh, there.
frozen.
Yep, better. I think she. Nope. President is always great. I can. No. Wait.
Hold on.
Here. Better. No.
No, now you're totally blurry. No.
I think I'm a thumb like in it.
There. There. Now you look good.
That.
Now you look good. Now it's good. Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Um. So, I don't think she needed any like specific detox process because by the time she was arrested, she was already
Right.
like detox was over.
Do you think that that was possibly
And
because she was a little more aware that she wasn't needing all of those, and maybe that was part of it? Or do you think it just was her trying to do that to get away from there? What do you think? Can you hear me?
I think that she was becoming more aware of her medical like freedom and that I don't really have
Mm-hmm.
seizures. Why am I taking all these meds? She was going on the internet a lot
Right.
more. Probably Googled what some of the meds and
Mm.
like half the meds that
Yeah.
she's on. Many people are on and don't cause problems, but it's the neuro meds
Mm-hmm.
that probably caught her eye
Mm-hmm.
on. Oh, why should I be taking these? Um, so I think she
Right.
was just becoming
Right.
more aware and self-stopping.
Yeah, because a lot of people have
Um,
asked why she didn't take them with her, and I really do think that there was an awareness happening in that last couple of years that she really
mhm.
was figuring it out. Like, I don't think she had full culpability of understanding or anything like that, but I think that she really was at a point where she knew more than what she was letting on, and she was trying to figure it out. I don't think it was like her bulking the system or anything like that. I just think she really was on a quest to try and figure out what was really wrong with her. Would you agree?
Yeah, and a lot of the meds, um, like I said, like they don't necessarily need to be taken. Like there's like 3 different ones for constipation,
Hmm.
and you know,
Right.
without the improper feed and
Hmm.
stopping some of the other medications, if she's not constipated, she doesn't need
Hmm.
to take it. And I think the
Right.
only ones that she would have taken would have been pain medicine and anxiety medication. Um, and I think even
Sure.
then,
And the seizure, I would say the seizure.
yeah.
But
And
even all those, like there wouldn't have been a big detox from any of those things, like
mm-mm.
not a huge one. So, yeah. Yeah, Ashley, we do see that there was a lot of times that there was cash paid for certain things. I think she also used samples a lot. She also, I think there was some indication that she got a couple of things where, like, you know how if you are taking a medication that's not necessarily prescribed by your or approved by your insurance, you can call the actual company up itself and ask them to give you like a discounted rate. I think we saw some of those as well. So yeah, there's definitely ways to get around the double medications and things like that. So
Yeah, and like I talked about in the last live, when she was going to so many
mhm,
different providers and even going to different
mhm,
pharmacies, um,
mhm,
with paper scripts and paper charts, the pharmacies don't. If it's a different company, they don't communicate with each other. So like going to a Walgreens
mhm,
and then going to a CVS,
right.
unless it now
Mhm.
they would probably know, but back then they wouldn't have known.
Well, yeah, even we had somebody tell us the other day that still even in Missouri now currently there still is not that whole. It's one of the only states that doesn't have the sharing of of pharmacies records like to each other. Like I don't remember what she was saying, but it was definitely very specific to Missouri and how they don't have that, and they're one of the only states that don't. So yeah, it's really crazy. And then the other thing could be explaining that too is so you go to a doctor and a doctor prescribes something, you go to the next doctor, if they don't prescribe the same thing, but it's for this but it's for the same thing, to a medical insurance company, that can just look like, oh, okay, so they stopped this one and they started this one, but she's
Mm-hmm.
still going to have whatever it was. And if she was just stockpiling those things, then, you know, it could have been gone for a long time without being caught. And like I
and
said, she
like
paid cash for things too, so.
and like when it's like a slight dose change, it's still pharmacists are like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you know, you were on 0.5 milligrams, now you're going to be on 0.75 milligrams, and you could fill the 0.5 like Friday and fill those 0.75 on a Saturday, and they do it, and then you
Mm-hmm.
still have all those
Yep.
0.5s that you just got filled.
Yep.
Um, and so,
It
you know,
definitely
when
could be, Ashley. I do think that coming from Louisiana to Springfield was very planned. I think that maybe her course had run she had run her course in Louisiana. I think that a lot of things happened more. Um, Let me think, with more consistency in Springfield over Louisiana, because I think it got to a point where she could really manipulate everything, because
mm-hmm.
it was a different kind of thing for her there. So let's read some of the different medications she was on. Colleen, can you just kind of go through the list and read them off?
Yep. Do you want me just to like say each one, or say the ones that I think are most interesting?
Just I think just list them all at this point so that people can understand the different ones.
Okay.
Oh, you're
So,
frozen again. There you are.
oh,
Wait.
oh.
Okay, start again. Okay, there you go.
So she was on lactulose.
You're breaking up, babe.
Tylenol, which is an antihistamine. Yep. No. Yep. You hear me now? I feel like the Sprint guy. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. um. So Retinol, antihistamine, and it was used to prevent itching in her eye due to allergies. It was on
Mm-hmm.
Zantac for the ulcers and gastroesophageal reflux.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was on um, Ranastan, another antihistamine and decongestant. She's on Trotenin, which is the vitamin A medications used to treat acne.
Mm-hmm.
Then, big one that drives me nuts is Keppra.
Yeah.
So I'm going to talk a little bit about this medication. It's an anticonvulsant, and it's usually used with other medications
Mm-hmm.
to treat different types of seizures in adults and children over the age of 4. However,
Right.
its side effects include aggressive and angry behavior, other mood changes, anxiety, physical and mental change in personality over time, crying,
Mm-hmm.
depersonalization, euphoria, irritability, mental depression, paranoia, very quick to react or overreact emotionally, and rapidly changing moods. And
Oh, wow. So it can kind of mimic like a bipolar disorder, huh?
yeah, exactly.
Wow.
And the bad, like type 1 bipolar, so very high, very lows.
Right. Right. Extremely
And
high cycling. Mm-hmm.
that's the one that was like on the dresser that was labeled Shaky Baby.
Mm.
Because it's used to
Okay,
treat
so why
seizures.
would she name it Shaky Baby? Like, why? Okay, so Shaky Baby that's why it was being named Shaky Baby, was because it was for seizures. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Okay, but there's other seizure medication she had too, right? Like
yep,
Tegretol and.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that the Keppra probably worked faster and also had side effects like dizziness and drowsiness and tiredness that it could make her like fall asleep very easily versus like some of the other seizure medications don't really cause drowsiness. And I think Gypsy kind of got like that shaky baby, like a lot of these meds and my theory on the malnutrition, she was probably having tremors probably all the time. And so to label a shaky baby, like, oh, your hand is shaking a little bit, you got a seizure. Probably not. So then keep going down the list. She's Bactroban for skin infections. She's on albuterol inhaler to treat asthma, which side effects like cough, headache, nervousness, tremor, trouble sleeping. She's on Flovent, which is a corticosteroid for her sinuses and her asthma. Fluticasone and salmeterol, which is an Advair inhaler. A long-acting corticosteroid and bronchodilator combo. Another asthma medication. Prednisolone, which is another steroid to treat inflammation, seasonal allergies, asthma, bone marrow problems, eye and vision problems, MS, and then some of those side effects: dizziness, flushing, nervousness, indigestion or nausea. She had an EpiPen for allergic reactions. She had
To nothing. That she was not allergic to anything.
Yeah, no. So it was just a boost of epinephrine right into the bloodstream whenever that was given. Then she was also on Nasonex, another steroid. Like, it is impressive that they didn't get like stomach ulcers and adrenal problems with the amount of steroids she was on.
Yeah. I mean, because I can't even take one steroid without it making me just like, so. You're blurry again. There you go.
Okay. So she's antifungal to treat fungal infections in the mouth, which is really brought on those why people say eat probiotics when you're on antibiotics. She was on the Singular inhaler for asthma. She was on diazepam, which is a benzodiazepine to treat, which is used for anxiety, alcohol withdrawal, and seizures. Also used to like relieve muscle spasms and sedation. So this is one of those like classified medications that can be very addictive, cause her to pass out, drowsiness, confusion. Then she was
she's about 4'11", Bunny, and Ashley, I would say she definitely was taking her in for side effects. So these medications would mimic other things that she was getting her treated for. So that was part of the problem. And that was how she was able to convince doctors. So with the amount of different books that we found in the house, what we believe was happening was she would look up the side effects, the different things that were indicative of a different type of thing that she wanted her diagnosed with. She would then proceed to find the medications that could cause that, give her an overwhelming amount of them, and then take her in for those type of things. And then it would show, oh, well, yeah, I did do that. She asked Gypsy, if a doctor asked her, then there would be different stuff, So
I
I mean,
couldn't have said
it
that
just
better
it was
myself.
a circular thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it was very circular in the fact that, she'd give her something that caused something that then she'd go to the doctor and say she has, and then they would give her something which caused the next thing, and then she would go to the doctor and say she has this, and they would give her another thing. So it basically kind of perpetuated the system of being able to do this, and then doctor shopping on top of that. So I mean, it's absolutely insanity the amount of work that went into this. Like I told Colleen and then the other day, I had uploaded a thing where it was like a sheet of paper, like just notebook paper, and on it was at the top, it was like pick up on 6/18, and then she had like 20 different things, of different medications listed, or not listed, but like the piece like stuck to it,
Hmm.
like each different one stuck to it. So from the last time where she ripped it off and stuck it on there, and so she would just keep that, and then the next day there would be another one that had another like 10 to 20 things to go pick up, and she just kept records of that and what they did and why they were taking them. And I mean, it was very detailed. There was nothing about this that was not completely calculated with Dee Dee.
Oh yeah,
um,
completely like
Steroids.
premeditated. Like,
Yeah,
it,
and the steroids, Bunny, I like Colleen had kind of said, they can cause a wealth of different things. They can cause the tremors. They can cause psychological things, because I can't take a lot of steroids because of the mental health issues that I have. They make me go off the rails, like really crazy. I say really randomly strange things. I get very angry and aggressive. My husband can't either. Like it messes with his mind in so many ways. Like we can't take steroids for very long at all. Like I always tell them, unless you absolutely have to give me a steroid, please don't give it to me. And then even when they do, I a lot of times don't take them because they make me so crazy and just whoo all the time. Like I feel like my whole body tightens when I take steroids. Like I can feel the tightening in like my chest and my arms. Like I can feel it all through my body, and it makes me itch a lot of times, like obsessively itch. It makes my judgment off. It makes me angry. So I can say that just one steroid would be like that. So can you imagine if you were taking all these steroids? And is it right? You're saying it's making her blood sugar go up, which she's supposed to be allergic to sugar, which she wasn't. But let's just think about that. Like, here's this thing that she's claiming, and yet here's all these medications she's taking that are making her, have more worse sugar stuff. So, I mean, it's absolutely insanity and going on and on. Like, okay, so there's still more. Yeah. So keep going.
oh yeah, there's
Um,
a lot. If anything, the one medication or the medications that would have caused the steroids, because you cannot
Colleen, I'm gonna exit you out and bring you back in. Hang on, Colleen, I'm gonna exit you out and bring you back in because we have really crappy connection. So let's try this one more time. That's not getting, okay, there you are. Okay, so let's try this again. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know if it's my connection. I don't know if you guys can hear her well, but I can't hear anything she's saying. Let me know. It's not, it's me and not her. Yeah, see, now she's not even. Yes, Bunny, it definitely could have. It absolutely could have affected her mental state. Like one of the things that I talked about the other day, and I don't know if I talked about it on here or not. I'm going to wait for it to cycle back through. Colleen, I don't know. It's not showing you as even available now. So maybe you need to exit out and come back in if you can hear me. So one of the things that I talked about a lot was that honestly, and I just started thinking about this the other day. Dee Dee designed her own murderer by everything she did to the girl, by isolating her from everyone else, by being the only inference of influence on her life, like no other relationships that were meaningful. Heather, it really was just no, they don't. And they don't ask unless they think something's wrong. And because she doctor shopped so much, nobody really knew what was going on. I think maybe the main doctors did, but no. I mean, I really believe that some of the main doctors had more indication of things than they let on. But Colleen, I still can't add you. I don't know why. It's not allowing me to. You're really choppy. Is there a storm or something going on in your end? I don't know. But yeah, so feeling paranoid, angry, isolated. So not only did by her actions Dee Dee create her own murderer by saying, oh, there you are. Now you're finally back. Her own murderer by design. On top of that, all the things that she did to her with the medication, that caused this type of mental capacity and mental break in her. And I think she designed her own. There you are. You're in much better now. I think she designed her own murderer. I truly believe by every single second of her life being monitored and her only influence being Dee Dee, and Dee Dee being a very manipulative, conniving, mean-spirited, terrible person that she was, I think she created Gypsy. And then on top of that, with all the medications, I mean, that really speaks to creating and designing your own murderer. Like, I mean, it's no wonder that it happened. I don't condone it in any way, shape, or form. I truly believe Gypsy had other options. I don't think it was as much learned helplessness as I thought it was before, now that I know more things and have seen more things. But I definitely think that it was absolutely created. So, and Dee Dee did that to herself. All right, Colleen, you're back now. So I think we got you in better now. If you want to try talking.
I think that
you're still.
if this whole thing had been a different story, had Gypsy herself, oh my god, there is a storm in my area, so that's probably why I'm super chappy. But if Gypsy had killed her mom herself, but it's because she got Nick to do it for her, would have been fine.
Colleen, we still are having a really hard time understanding you. Is there a storm? Nope, you're gone. What is going on?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're just really choppy. I don't know what's going on. Are you having a storm there?
Yeah. It was been supposed to rain all weekend, and then it's raining, of course. But
lovely, of course. No, you're breaking up really bad. You're really bad.
I hate thunderstorms.
No. I wonder if are you in the bedroom? Possibly, if you went to the living room, would that be better? Because sometimes, I mean, you seemed a lot better in the living room. I don't know, maybe.
I can try.
Yeah, you're too choppy.
Let's just go.
Let's try to see if moving you to a different part of the house works.
Yeah, but try to see a different part of the house.
I definitely hear you better now.
Any better?
Yes, much better, and you're clearer.
All right. Only can do lives in the office. Okay. Do I pick up where I left off?
Yeah, that's fine. Just kind of maybe go back a couple. I talk a little bit about the Kepra again, because I think maybe you cut out a lot during that, and that one's really important for people to understand.
Sorry, Tim just turned off the light on me.
Okay.
So Kepra is used as an anticonvulsant, and it's used in combination with other medications to treat seizures and muscle problems, but its side effects are pretty severe and include aggressive and angry behavior, anxiety, a change in personality, which that's a big thing. Like, this drug messes with your brain. Can cause uncontrollable crying, depersonalization, so like kind of like distancing herself from herself, like talking in like third person kind of thing. Euphoria, irritability, depression, paranoia, quick to react
Dear
or
God, is there
overreact.
anything good about this drug?
Only if you have really bad seizures. But because she didn't have seizures, no. No.
Yeah.
And then rapidly changing moods. And so because Gypsy didn't have seizures and this medication was unnecessary, these side effects more than likely definitely just destroyed her. Which is really sad.
More because it wasn't right. So it presented more like I said, she really, by everything she did, by the isolation, no other relationships outside of her mom, who was manipulative and crazy and mean and hateful and spiteful, and she's very moralistically, she's not kind of defunct there. She doesn't care. So all of that plus all these medications, like I said, really creating her own worst enemy. Like, I feel like everything Dee Dee did really laid her on a path to end up where she ended up. I mean, it's not to make an excuse for Gypsy, but I definitely feel like that's the way this happened. Like it went down that way, and it's very sad for all parties involved.
And like, I don't know if I was cutting out when I said it. This would have been an entirely different case had Gypsy just killed Dee Dee herself, because it would have been a proper reason really behind it. She might have got more of like a misdemeanor, maybe manslaughter, and leniency by the court system because of what she went through. But because this was premeditated, she had somebody else come and do it. Not good, like, for her.
Well, actually, like Colleen explained earlier, the seizures could have been caused, could have appeared to have happened by the other medications. Not that the actual seizures happened, but the levels and things that they would have been looking for and testing for would have been mimicked by the other medications that she was taking, so that then they gave her those. And then Dee Dee was famous for taking her in after an episode happened. So, she just had a grandma seizure and fell down on the floor and and I'm bringing her in. There was never actually where they would come to the house and pick her up and take her in an ambulance. It never happened like that. Well, and that's, I had a friend in junior high who had seizures. She would fall down on the floor in the middle of class or at home, different things. And I remember thinking about the fact that there's not anything you can specifically do at that point. You have to wait for it to pass before anybody can do anything. And then it's basically after that, you just have to go and take them, to see if they're okay, if there was any type of damage done, nothing else. But so it's not it's very normal that they would have a seizure. She would just sit with her through it and then take her in. That's a normal course of action. So, it was, like I said, very, very calculated and planned out.
Extremely calculated.
On Dee Dee's part. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
so keep going with the rest. Hey, Rachel. Go ahead.
And I
Say
think
what you want.
last week, when I said, we were talking about the different procedures and did any of these doctors do any, neuro testing before starting any of these meds? Well, yeah, they did. But because of the medications she was already on, one of the only things that ever showed up on an EEG, a brain mapping, there's a picture of Gypsy with all the low electrodes on her head, was just a mild spike in one area. But that is a correlating symptom of one of the medications she was taking. So it's literally taking a medication to mimic a symptom of a disease that Dee Dee wanted her diagnosed with. It's just, literally, it's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
So going down my list. So she was on Zyrtec for allergies and hives and itching. She was on levobuterol, which is another bronchodilator, but it causes tachycardia, so a heartbeat really fast, body aches or pain, anxiety, congestion, cough, dryness and soreness of the throat, which those symptoms definitely can mimic, oh, well, she has sleep apnea, she's not sleeping well. This medication, well, cause some of those symptoms.
Right.
Definitely the cough, that was a big one. Can cause loss of appetite, migraines, muscle tightness, which is a symptom of the muscular dystrophy.
Here, you keep
Nervousness.
talking. I want to go grab something. You keep talking.
Okay. Nervousness, tremors, trouble sleeping. Those are literally, that medication has side effects to mimic half of the diseases she was thought to have had. She was also on Pulmicort, which is a glucocorticoid steroid. It's used to can treat Crohn's and ulcerative colitis, but when inhaled, it can prevent asthma attacks. There's no kind of record that she had either ulcerative colitis or Crohn's. She just had the feeding tube, but that medication could have definitely been on the radar of, maybe I can trick people into thinking she has this as well. So those symptoms are actually interesting because it can cause a change in voice. And so Gypsy already had some pretty vocal cord high pitch, and this can even worsen it. It can cause nosebleeds and those white patches or sores in their oral cavity, which she was taking the nystatin for. So it's like a med to treat a med to treat a med. Then she was on Tylenol, scheduled pretty much. Then she was also on Tylenol, acetaminophen, oxycodone, called Roxicet, which is a narcotic. It's used to treat moderate to severe pain, but this is a controlled substance, highly addictive and dependent. This is the thing that's very controversial in the world right now. It can cause respiratory distress and death if taken in high doses or combined with other substances like her seizure medications. So really, this medication really should not have been prescribed. And there's actually another one I'll get down to that I'm flabbergasted as to why she was prescribed it. But it can cause constipation, drowsiness, dizziness, lightheadedness, itching, headache, blurred vision, dry mouth, sweating, and decreasing the ability to feel pain, as well as that respiratory distress, which, she's not breathing, sleep apnea. No, she was probably just getting too much of that medication at that time. She was on Miralax to treat constipation. She's on ibuprofen, which really she should not have been on ibuprofen due to her GI problems that she is said to have had, because they can cause NSAIDs, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, can cause stomach ulcers and bleeding. She was also on propofol, which was only during her. Okay, so this was only given during her tooth extraction. So she wasn't getting this at home, thank God, because this was the medication that killed Michael Jackson. But so that was only given during her inpatient hospital for her teeth. She was on some other ones specific for her teeth. When she was in the hospital at Mercy Hospital, I think for 2 months, she was getting fentanyl through an IV. So she had Zofran at home, antiemetic, preventing nausea and vomiting. But because of her Nissen fundoplication, she can't vomit. So that one drives me nuts too.
Right.
She's on baclofen, which is a muscle relaxer to treat muscle spasms and that muscle tightening if she actually had muscular dystrophy, but she didn't. But it can cause confusion, dizziness, lightheadedness, drowsiness, and the big one here is unusual muscle weakness, because that can mimic, she said, she can kind of move her legs. She's not, paralyzed, but, she can't walk. this could mimic those symptoms, like, decreased muscle weakness in her legs. She can't walk. She can't hold herself up, but it's because of a med. She was on chlorhexidine gluconate, which is an antimicrobial mouthwash, for treating gingivitis. She was on Bactrim, which is an antibiotic. She was on silver sulfadiazine, it's another antibiotic. Which, interesting enough, is that medication is used to treat burn victims. Not really sure why that was prescribed.
Yeah.
She was on ciprofloxacin and dexamethasone, which is a combination of antibiotic and steroid to treat ear infections. And then, so I said, she's on the Keppra. She's also on Tegretol, which is another anticonvulsant, used to treat seizures, trigeminal neuralgia. It also can treat type 1 bipolar disorder. And so I think Dee Dee was using this medication for two different reasons. One, to mimic the symptoms of the bipolar, because bipolar symptoms have symptoms of other different diseases that she wanted her to have, but then also as the anticonvulsant to make her like more dependent, because its side effects include drowsiness, fatigue, dry mouth, loss of coordination and balance. So, she can't really walk. She's not coordinated and unsteady because of the meds. Every single thing is pretty much because of her malnutrition and her medications, and how little or how much she was getting of them at any given time. In the past, she was also she was previously on phenobarbital, which is luminol, for the epilepsy. This can cause even more side effects: fatigue, depression, hyperactivity in children, memory problems like loss of memory, anemia, ADHD-like symptoms. Low calcium levels, slurred speech, and interestingly, decreased sexual interest, which I think Dee Dee wanted because she wanted Gypsy to remain, her pawn. And, if you can keep her thinking like she's a little girl and not thinking about boys, that'd be great. But this medication was stopped at some point. So those side effects of the phenobarbital, I think it'd been a few years, because now she was on the Keppra and the Tegretol.
Okay, so I wanted to. Are you still going?
Oh yeah, there's more, but
okay. Well, let's. I wanted to talk a little bit about the eye thing, like you guys are talking about. I mean, you guys have asked about some of the things on how the doctors didn't notice things. Let me read this to you. Okay, so there's a point where it says she sees only shadows in her right eye, but vision in left eye is good with correctional lenses. So that's one doctor who she's telling that to. That was not an eye doctor, but here. Okay, so that was on 4/4/2007. So on 4/9, she goes in to see the ENT. Okay, again, it's a different age. The age, the date of birth is correct and the age is wrong. Like in the same report, the date of birth is 1991 and it's listing her as 13 years old and it's 2007. Okay, that doesn't match up, guys, but that's okay. That's okay. So it says she has had 4 surgeries. She has a history of colon polyps that's never mentioned anywhere else in any of the entire file. Never mentioned ever again. So they go on to basically say, our audiologist spoke to me privately. Our audiologist, this was about the audiology. So this is for her ear, for her hearing. So it says her hearing test shows mixed hearing loss today. Speech reception threshold was 60 dB on the left and 70 dB on the right. She had an air bone gap bilaterally across all frequencies. Discrimination was 80% and 92%. Our audiologist spoke to me and privately told me that although Gypsy may in fact truly have hearing loss, she felt that Gypsy was possibly malingering or not fully cooperating today because there were some inconsistencies noted during testing. I definitely recommend hearing aid consult. Mother tells me currently that the hearing aids are out of batteries. Okay, so you go on, all right, and she goes in to see the eye doctor. I have to find it because I had it and then I went to the next thing. So hold on. There's listed paraplegia in some of the files. It's listed quadriplegia. Oh, look, now we're on date of birth 1993 and she's still 13 years old and we're still in 2007. Okay, so on her examination, her vision in her right eye is dramatically reduced. She has light perception and denies appreciating hand motion. Vision in the left eye is 20/40 in the distance with an equivalent of 20/70 at near. Her alignment reveals a large angle right astrapia that is constant in nature. Her right eye has been reduced all her life. She reports that she sees shadows out of the right eye that is now crossing more over the last 8 months, and she feels her vision is poor in her current glasses. The current prescription was given to her approximately a year and a half ago. Okay, so we go on, and the doctor basically says, I recommend trial without glasses. She will need to be in safety glasses, but I would like for her to try using no strength as her eyes are very minimally hyperopic. I have requested she return to see me in 4 to 8 weeks for follow-up, at which time we will review her past operative reports and see how she is adjusting without glasses. Okay, that was in May. Then you go on, but she doesn't go back until I noted it because I was like, why did she not go back? Okay, in May, the doctor suggested for her not to wear her glasses for a period of 4 to 6 weeks. Where is that appointment? She did not go back until 9/14/07. So then on our examination, so now she's 14 years old. It's still 1993. We're still in 2007, okay? This is in September of 2007. Our examination today, her astrapia is quite stable. It can come and go, mind you, but quite stable. Again, it's a large angle. She and the mother are interested in surgical intervention to realign her eyes. I have discussed the risks and benefits with her mother who wishes to proceed. I will keep you updated on her progress. Again, I appreciate the opportunity to assist in the care of this pleasant child. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to contact me. That was sent to Dr. Steele. Okay, that's her primary care physician. The very next thing we see, the surgery. Literally, she doesn't need it. Let's try glasses. Oh, we never did that. Oh, we're going to go ahead and do the surgery. Your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah, it's disgusting. She literally fell through every single crack in the system. And, you know, I discussed the risks, and Mom wants to go ahead and do the surgery. Yep, yeah, Dee does. Every surgery, every procedure possible, do it. No questions asked.
And we've read Beckerman's files before, many of them, and I can honestly tell you, the one that we read where we were laughing and we were just absolutely astounded and we laughed a lot. No, she does not have any vision problems. She has a lazy eye. That is it. That is not a vision problem, and it's not a major lazy eye. It is a minor lazy eye. That is it. That is all she has. She does not wear glasses currently. She does not need them. There's nothing wrong with her eyes. Okay. So we've read Beckerman's files before for you guys. I know some of you thought it was in poor taste that we laughed through it. I have to tell you that the reason for that is because reading his file is like reading a fantasy novel. It never tells the same story twice. He tells that she was in a wheelchair at least 7 years of her 14 years. The last time she was in a wheelchair since 4 years old. The time before that, she had been in the wheelchair her whole life. The time after this, she goes and he says that he's seen her this many times and that many times. It literally never, ever, ever makes sense. And that's why we were laughing, and that's why we were so frustrated reading his files. Because His files specifically are the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. I mean, ridiculous. He changes her date of birth. He changes her different diagnoses. He changes the time frame that something happened. He changes over and over and over again. So either one of two things is happening. Either he totally is 100% complicit in all of this, or he is completely incompetent as a doctor to remember anything that he is being told about his quote unquote favorite patient. Because I'm sorry, if I went into my daughter's doctor right now and I said to him, but Dr. Whitmore, I mean, Emily has had this since she was 4. He would go, no, she hasn't. It's not in any other file that we've had. You've never told me about this before. And then if I went back the next time and said, but don't you know she was in the wheelchair since she was 7, he would literally go, wait a minute, no. Last time, because I'm looking at it right here, you said she was 4 when she got in the wheelchair, and now you're saying 7? No, that never happens in his files. Literally, he just goes along with whatever it is. I don't know if he's going along with it, if he's changing it himself. It's absolutely crazy to even think that guys, look at I want to show you, like, the amount, when I told you that my husband was telling me that I was wasting,
valuable
highlighters.
paper.
Look at this piece of paper. I highlighted the entire thing.
Yeah.
Here's the rest of this file. Look at this file. More. Just highlighted. Like, why? Why is this way? I even color-coded the highlights because I got so confused at one point in time as to what the hell I was highlighting. It got to a point where I had to start telling the girls, we have to figure out exactly what this is. So could you please make a list of all the different inconsistencies in this one file, because I need to know what they are.
And there's a lot.
I mean, it just goes on and on and on and on and on and on.
And there's
and there's just something different.
Nothing is the same from last visit. He could have seen her literally a week apart, and date of birth is wrong. Medical history is wrong.
Yes, they are all still doctors. They are all still doctors. So while things of my opinion on Gypsy has changed in the last 6 months with some of the information that I have been given, I cannot by any standards think that this girl was not abused. We tried that, Ashley, but the statute of limitations has run out. So I told you guys on the last thing, one of the things Titania wants to do is we're trying to put this comprehensive thing together of all the records, and then we intend to take it to the boards and present it to the boards, because the boards can still do something even if they can't sue. At least it can't happen to anyone else, because that's our main concern here. There's nothing we can do for Gypsy. There's nothing you can do. She is where she is.
Everything happened.
She's done. Everything happened, and we can't go forward, and we can't change what happened to her. The only thing we can do is hope that through our efforts that we can change this for other children. And that is one of the main things. Like, people have asked why we're continuing on even though Gypsy doesn't want us to. Because it's not about saving Gypsy. Unfortunately, there is no one to save Gypsy. Gypsy has to save herself at this point. And she needs to go through intensive therapy. She needs to, have a lot of things happen for her to come out into society and be a productive member of society. There's no more helping Gypsy except for what Gypsy decides to do for herself. But what we are doing is bigger than, it's been alleged sometimes, Suzanne, that he was. So I don't know. I haven't gotten into all of that. I'm trying to find some confirmation that he definitely was sweet on her, and you can see it in the way that he talks about her specifically when he does these reports. But that's why we're continuing doing what we're doing. And like I said, by proxy was always going to be about truth, and that means the truth on all sides. I know some of you guys were a little upset today about the whole thing about her hair, but it wasn't about her hair. That post was about a psychopathy for her, and how does that show? Because people don't cut their hair like that so drastically without a specific reason. And somebody who's gone through what she's gone through, she wouldn't necessarily do that without something. So there's all of this is relevant to what actually happened and how this case came down and how things are going to continue to happen. So, we're not against anyone or anything or any kind of information here. but definitely that going forward, the story is bigger than Gypsy
Yep.
for everyone. I mean, it's about saving other lives. It's about, one of the girls who came and worked for us is from the Schofield Lie, and that's another case where a mom,
Oh, yes.
convinced millions of people, including Oprah and Dr. Phil, that these children had schizophrenia. We are trying to stop all that,
That case is so heartbreaking because that mom put everything on YouTube. And you can visually see the deterioration of these kids due to the medications.
Right. It's terrible.
It's heartbreaking.
Terrible. So, I mean, if you want to keep going, I mean, we can with the medications.
I think I only have a few more left.
Okay, so let's finish off.
So she's on Claritin for allergies. She was also on morphine, which should not be really given at home. Especially she's not a cancer patient. It's usually the main reason that you get morphine at home. It's to treat moderate and severe pain. It's a very highly controlled substance that causes abdominal cramps, unusual sense of well-being, a relaxed state, respiratory depression, drowsiness, dizziness, fatigue. And if she was getting a lot of it and then it was stopped, could have a seizure. So, she was also on heparin to prevent blood clots, but no ever history of blood clots. That one never was explained. She was on Phenergan, an antihistamine for allergies, but it can also treat motion sickness, and is also used as a sedative before and after surgery and medical procedures. It causes vision changes such as double or blurred vision.
Seems like I heard that in this book earlier. Huh. Interesting.
Yep. It's really sad. And then she's on another benzodiazepine for anxiety. Then she had some specifically inpatient medications that were on a code card in case she coded while in the hospital. But the main big ones are she was on multiple controlled substances, benzodiazepines, and opioids all at the same time. And she was also on seizure medications all of these meds were not necessary for her and all produced symptoms of the diseases that Dee Dee wanted Gypsy to present with. It was very calculated, very thought out, specific.
Yep. So, I mean, Cheryl, we don't have the report from Wisconsin yet. We're working on getting that to see what she had in her system when she was taken to the hospital there. I do know that in 2015, pretty close to when this happened, there were some tests done and there was a lot of different levels mentioned. And so she did have things at that time. But I'm not quite sure where we were at with that once she left, So, but yeah, like we said before, there were definitely things done all the time and tests done all the time that showed the levels of things. But again, they are only testing for levels of things that they are specifically looking for. So if they're not looking for a specific drug, then that doesn't even get tested for. So you don't know that it's even there. That's the thing. So, I mean, it's such a disastrous thing.
It's literally just makes you angry in the pit of your stomach.
If you read the history of the family, every doctor that she went to, the history of the family would mimic whatever it was that she was trying to get Gypsy diagnosed with. But then the next one, it would be different. And the next one, it would be different. And the next one, it would be different. So, I mean, this is the most mind-boggling part for me. I'm sure they did do a drug screen on her, Suzanne, I'm sure. I mean, this has been the most mind-boggling part about this because, I mean, I can't make sense of these books. I have books and books, and this is only what I've printed out. I mean, I have 3 of these huge books right now. I have a couple others. I have tons that I haven't printed. And I look through them frequently to try and make sense of them, and I never come away making sense. I don't think there's ever been a time that our team has sat and discussed them, because we do often, and where we were like, oh yeah, that one makes sense. No, that totally makes sense. No, never, never, so it's very heartbreaking. This is where the thing for Gypsy, for me, I do feel bad. I do believe that there's no refuting that the medical stuff happened. Like, I know some people have questioned it because nobody has come out with it, but that's because nobody has these. Like, the family has them, we have them, the doctors have them, and the lawyers have them. And because Gypsy took a plea, none of this is in public record. So no one can get these unless the family provides them or we bring them through, so, that is, it really was. And she was failed by everybody. I mean, I even think about the fact of like, okay, so Rod has talked about not being able to see his daughter because she moved further and further and further away. She didn't move to Missouri until she was 15. So where the hell was he for 15 years? She was right there. Even if she was in Slidell or Golden Meadow, those are not far. So I don't know where he was. Like, it truly, truly is a failing of everyone that led us to this.
Well, and the other daughter thing is a big one that people are learning about.
The other daughter that he gave up rights to as well. There are people that are in the town that said that they didn't even know he had either of his other two children. They never heard about it. They didn't even know Gypsy existed, Nicolette existed, none of them. So, I mean, it's really, it does. Everyone failed her in an epic, epic way. And it's, while I think that Gypsy made choices that were wrong, while I think Gypsy continues to make choices that are wrong, and that she does continue down this path, it's no wonder that we ended up here. And I know that lots of people are abused and don't kill their parents, of course, but lots of people that are abused also aren't generally kept away from the entire world. So, it's you have to really look at all pieces of this to see how we got to where we were. It's not a simple story in any way, shape, or form.
Right, all the different procedures, all the different hospitalizations, and all the different meds. But then also, I always talk about it just because it's my specialty, the malnutrition kept Gypsy weak and docile, and all the medications made her even more docile, so Dee Dee could do whatever she wanted to Gypsy. Like, shave her head for fucking 20 years.
Right.
And that is just our medical side. I mean, we have teams for looking at the psychiatric issues for both Gypsy and Nick, and the family members, looking at the criminology aspect of the case, so many different parts of this case, and mainly I come on and talk about the medical stuff, and it's a big part, but there's so many other parts to the case.
There's so many working parts that there's no one part that you can go, oh, aha, that's it. That's right there. That's it. That's the reason. Nothing. Because it's so many different things that played into why what happened. So you can sit back and you can say, well, she did this, or I would have done. You really don't know. Because I'll be honest with you, I came from an abusive relationship. I didn't tell my mom. You're absolutely right. But there were factors into what caused me not to do that. Tori comes from an abusive relationship. Many people on the team come from different abusive situations. They didn't kill their parents. But then again, all of them had other outside influences. She did not. None of them were medically abused like she was. None of them were kept from having any type of relationships. It's on and on and on and on. Most of them had, I did not have a father in my life. That was hard for me. Tori did have a father in her life. That was hard for her because he wasn't great. You can't just look at it and say one thing or the other. It's a lot of things that played into why this happened, and boiling it down to a girl who was abused by her mom medically isn't it. When you boil it down to why didn't she say anything about medical abuse in the interrogation, I don't know if she really had an understanding that she was medically abused. I really don't.
Yeah, she didn't. I don't think she really understood.
Either that or she was complicit in some of it towards the end. Who knows? I mean, there are so many ways, and that's why we have not made the project that we were going to make originally. You know, that's why we waited, because I'm thankful that we've waited, because otherwise we would have a project like The Act that just rushed to get something out there and is completely inaccurate. And so I am so thankful that we have had some of the things in the last couple of months that have happened that we didn't already have something going, because I absolutely believe that we are where we're supposed to be right now with this project. Like, I think that so many things have come full circle, and we've gotten so much more information that we didn't have even just a little bit ago. That I mean, can you imagine if we'd made the project before we saw the interrogation video? Like, I mean, and people. Okay, here's the thing: the media, several media outlets saw that interrogation in its entirety, and they still put out what they put out. So you have to think about that, because it was very skewed, and I think it was done to tell a narrative of exactly what, you know, was needed at first. Was this story that it was a heartbreaking story of a poor girl but there's so many different things to this that is not a comprehensive story. So,
like, a lot of people like to talk about how, oh, well, she was getting all these free trips, multiple, 2 weeks at Disney. Like, yes, that is accurate. But, and I've been thinking about this a lot lately, to me, those were like doing, you have been rehearsing for a play, and this is the show. This is go and show everybody that you are a child that is sick. And get sympathy, and that's it. Like, you're here for sympathy.
It wasn't even like an enjoyable experience. Like, look, she's sitting at the Disney thing talking about, look, I'm eating the gray stuff, and she can't even enjoy the gray stuff. Like, that was a show. That was put on this show about the gray stuff and how great it is, and la-da-da.
That voice is really accurate.
I mean, like, seriously. That's the thing. Like, it's sad all the way around. Any way you look at it, from all aspects, it's a terrible thing. And even for Nicholas, I am so interested in finding out more about his background and things that we're working for, because I think it really does speak to where we're at with him. And no matter what I believe of him today, there is things that happened that made him where he is today. He didn't just wake up one morning and kill a person. It doesn't happen. So I am very interested in some of the different things that we've been looking into in his background and stuff, because it really tells us how we got to where we are. Because that is the whole.
And the case continues. Yeah, the case continues to evolve every single day. We uncover more information, more on everybody that is involved. More information comes to light every single day. And so that's why people are like, well, when is this story going to come out? It'll come out when it's ready to come out, when we have all the information that we can. Because we have been here to tell the truth of everything, not in the light of somebody, but to tell the truth.
Right.
And we have to have all the information to be able to accurately tell the truth.
Right.
So.
And we had the podcast. We were ready. We were going to go ahead and do the trailer, and we decided to hold off based on the different information that we have right now. However, Brandy and I did have a conversation yesterday with a producer who's ready to go, and so we're working on that. It's going to be a lot different than what we were originally going to do, but we're still super excited about it. And when it comes out, the first one will be done through the Good Wives Guide to True Crime. We'll probably do 3 or 4 episodes on Gypsy and this case, and then we'll probably do another 3 or 4 episodes on another case for our very first season and go from there. And then there will be eventually a very dedicated, very informational podcast that comes out, kind of like the Dirty John one, or the like Happy Face Killer one, where it's very, very just straight information. And then we'll go right into the series and stuff. So we're really excited about where we are at right now. I can hear him. He's watching TV or something, isn't he?
Oh, I'm pretty sure he's playing a video game.
I can hear him yelling at the video game.
Yeah, he doesn't do well with it. People are dumb.
That's funny. Anyway, but guys, yeah, so there's a lot that's going on. So we're very excited about the things we're going to be bringing forward to you. Like I said, we've been talking with some attorneys that'll probably come on and speak to you some. There's going to be our expert in Munchausen by proxy. We're working with some autism experts. So we've got a lot of things coming that we're very excited about in the next couple of weeks and months and stuff for you guys. So keep tuning in, keep asking all your questions, because we're trying, I mean, the questions really help us, guys. So it helps us to know what to look into for you, you know, because we have our own questions, of course, but when we see questions from you guys, we think about it and we go, oh, hey, yeah, that's a really good one. Let's go look into that, because it's something you guys want to know. In fact, we're even working on getting into seeing if we can go into a couple of the mental health prisons and do some stuff and show you guys what goes on there, all kinds of different stuff. I'm so excited about some of the things.
I know, it's so exciting. There's so many good things that we're doing, and it's so good.
Yeah, in fact, we're even working on a charity dinner to help Habitat for Humanity House. Like, we just started working on that this week. So we're super, super excited, and I can't wait to show you guys everything. Oh, it's very fun. Okay, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy your holiday tomorrow, and know that this team is working very, very hard to bring all the truth to you about everything. Have a good one. Bye.